What I wanted to talk to you about was the release of these iPads. Now, as I understand, before I get into that, the school already has a program in place where it's lending out electronics to the students that need them. So can you tell me a bit about that first and how many students are making use of that?
Sure. So we have recognizing that not all of our students would have access to technology at home. We did a survey once it was pretty clear that we were going to be out of school for a bit of time, and asked our families about their technology needs. And that came back. We have about 1,700 family or students board wide. So that's all of Simcoe County and our Muskoka schools. About 130 students in Muskoka who did not have access to technology at home. And whether that's they don't have any technology in the home, or parents are working, and so the technology that's in the home is the work laptop. So we've loaned out a combination of iPads and Chromebooks to our students, depending. More of our primary students seem to be working on iPads, and then our intermediate and high school students are working more on Chromebooks.
Okay, so the province has mentioned that it has purchased iPads specifically for this type of thing. More, I believe it's for the students that don't have access to the internet at this point, because it has the Rogers wireless signal on it. So will the school board be looking to take advantage of that program as well?
Well, that was, the minister made that announcement on Friday, and we weren't aware that that was happening, that program was happening. So what we had done is we've purchased cell phones, Rogers cell phones, and then students will be able to access to hotspot for an internet connection. So that's the route that we've gone. So we haven't heard from the ministry yet what their plan is around the iPads, but if it was feasible, then for sure we would want to participate in that. But until we hear a little bit more about it, we're trying to get technology distributed to students as soon as we can. So we're hoping our cell phones, hopefully they arrived at the board office today, and hope to have those out later this week or early next week to get those out into the hands of our families.
So just to get clarification, those cell phones, are those specifically for the students, again, that don't have access to internet at this point?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So if they don't have and we know there are lots of places in the community. I know Muskoka is one where there are lots of spots where there are not internet connections. And then hopefully being able to hotspot to a cell phone might be one option. And to give kids access to the digital technology that teachers are using.
Just explain the hotspot situation to me. How does that work?
So it would be your cell phone would act as your data connection, right? So you would connect the phrase is hotspot your computer to your data connection on your cell phone, and that gives you access to the internet on your computer.
Interesting.
Or your device.
So the phone itself is the internet connection, and that allows them to hook up their laptop or whatever else they're working on.
Right. So it utilizes the data of a cell phone plan, right, to connect your device to the internet.
So that's something the school board itself has been paying for at this point?
So that's something that we'll be paying for through the school board. Yeah, it's no cost to families to have to be signing up for that.
Just for reference on that, so will you be looking to recoup the cost for that from the government as well, since it's technically the same program they're rolling out, but you've already kind of gone ahead with it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer that. I'm not sure, because we haven't seen what the government program looks like at all. So, but I mean, we recognize that the dollars that we're using are all ministry dollars, right? So we want to get the devices in the hands of our children as soon as possible, so that they don't feel like they're falling behind. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm just curious too, how many kids are going to be taking advantage of that specific cell phone program? Do you have a number on that?
We have about 400 families board wide, about 55 families that we know of in Muskoka itself.
Okay, 55 that are without any internet connection right now.
That we're aware of, yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. And will all of them be able to use that? Because I know there are some areas that don't even have cell phone connection at this point.
And that's something I'm not entirely sure of. I mean, we're going to connect with our families, get the devices out to them, and hopefully most of them will be able to connect in that way. And then, if not, we'll have to speak to those families that aren't able to directly and just figure out, are there some other options? Will we have to go some old school paper packages that we get delivered to them, or would they be able to connect to some of our school sites where they could access the technology from an open access internet connection at a school site might be an option as well. Of course, having to follow all those rules around the physical distancing and all those sorts of things. But
Of course.
yeah.
Do you have a timeline of, you were saying you're hoping they were showing up to the board office today. Is there a
Mhm.
specific timeline you have in mind of when you can be rolling or handing these cell phones out?
We're hoping to either at the by the end of this week or early next week be able to get them in the hands of our families. They have to be received at the board office, and then they have to get tagged, and then we have to make sure that we've got a safe delivery process to get them out to families. But which takes a bit of time, but we hope to get them out late this week or early next week.